He is a retired boxer. He promised himself never to use his fists to make money again. But because of the girl he loves, Chil-min was forced to return. He accepted to enter a life-or-death match abroad, one that might not return. He did so only to exchange for hope for the eyes of the girl he loves. From the outside, he looks no different from a water delivery man. However, no one expected that he was once a real boxing champion. He has a strong passion and enthusiasm of his 20s. When he was still competing, Chil-min's moves were very dangerous. But Chil-min got involved in gambling, so he lost a huge amount of money. His place in the boxing world was taken by his old friend named Tae-sik, so Chil-min had to go collect debts for a living. For money, he did not hesitate to bother anyone. Whoever refused to pay their debt would be punched by him. Even if he pushed someone to the brink of death, Chil-min would ignore it. An old man who couldn't pay his debt burned himself alive. Then he chose to end his life. At the crucial moment, Chil-min grabbed his hand. Chil-min never thought of killing anyone, but the fire grew bigger and bigger. Chil-min couldn't stand the heat and had to let go. The man didn't die, he was just severely burned. But after this incident, Chil-min was visited by the police. Chil-min was sentenced to 4 years in prison for intentional injury. After his time in prison, Chil-min was reintegrated into society, but he felt unhappy. He deeply regretted his cruelty. That's why Chil-min often went to the hospital to take care of his uncle. And Chil-min promised himself that he would never use his fists to make money again. In addition to delivering water, Chil-min was also given a job as a security guard at a company by an old man. That day, Chil-min worked while watching TV. He met his old friend Tae-sik, now a champion boxer. While he was thinking about something, a girl suddenly appeared. It was Jung-hwa. She immediately stuffed food into his hand. Chil-min was confused and asked who she was. She also asked who he was and where the old security guard was. Chil-min explained that he had retired. The girl was surprised and asked why he accepted the food. He replied that she gave it to him herself. Only then did Jung-hwa realize that she had given it to the wrong person. So she smiled shyly and took back the food she had given to Chil-min. She was about to leave, but at this moment it started to rain, making it impossible for her to leave. Chil-min discovered that this was a blind girl. Then he took the initiative to invite Jung-hwa into the room to watch a movie. He told her to leave when the rain stopped. It turned out that she often came here to sit like that with the security guard. Even though she couldn't see anything, just hearing the sound made her very happy. Her innocent appearance made Chil-min somewhat moved, because a healthy person like him had never had such a happy smile. Before leaving, she gave Chil-min a lunchbox. She didn't forget to tell him to water the jasmine plant in the corner of the room, because she really liked that plant. Jung-hwa lived near here. 4 years ago, while driving, because she wasn't paying attention, she caused a terrible accident. The accident caused her parents to pass away. Jung-hwa got a piece of glass in her eye, so she became blind. Luckily, she got a job taking care of customers over the phone. Jung-hwa's only joy in a day was watching movies with the security guard after work, and so she accidentally met Chil-min. That night, he ate the lunchbox that Jung-hwa gave him. He felt something extremely happy, because for all these years, the only friend he had was just a little turtle. The following days, when Jung-hwa passed by, she went to watch a movie with Chil-min again. However, Jung-hwa suddenly smelled something unpleasant in the room. Chil-min was embarrassed to realize that he hadn't changed his shoes for 3 years. His body was really smelly, so he quietly went out to scrub himself. Then he came back to watch the movie with Jung-hwa. Jung-hwa was also very friendly. She kept asking Chil-min about the details of the movie in a very natural way. Realizing that this was an innocent girl, even though she was blind, she was still happy and loved life. This made Chil-min feel touched. When Jung-hwa was about to leave, he gave her a box of mango shake. Seeing that, Jung-hwa immediately wanted to shake his hand to thank him. When touching the calluses on his hands, Jung-hwa curiously asked what he did before. This made Chil-min feel self-conscious because he did not want to remember that past. The next day, Chil-min decided to return to the gym. The appearance of a legend made all the fighters here gasp in amazement. Immediately after, Chil-min knelt down to apologize to Coach Bang. Chil-min regretted not taking seriously the career he had built for so many years. He angrily said that he had to borrow money from a loan shark so that Chil-min could train hard to become talented. But now, Chil-min was involved in gambling, making him poor. After saying that, Coach Bang angrily stood up and left. When Chil-min passed the arena, he accidentally met his old friend Tae-sik. He sarcastically challenged Chil-min to fight him if he was good. Seeing that Chil-min didn't seem to want to fight, a man in yellow spoke up for him. He said that Tae-sik was now a champion, and Chil-min hadn't trained for years, so how could he be a match for for him. He advised the two to forget about what happened before. It turned out that Chol Min had beaten Tae-sik to the point where he couldn't even raise his head, so now he wanted a chance to get revenge. However, Coach Bang believed that Chol Min was still very strong, so he told Chol Min to quickly go to the ring. Chol Min just apologized and left, but perhaps the only thing Chol Min was waiting for right now was Junghwa. After changing into new shoes and watering the hyacinth, Chol Min began to lose himself in love. A familiar sound made him smile happily. It was the sound of Junghwa's walking stick. When Junghwa sat down, Chol Min pretended to wake up, but Chol Min had forgotten that she couldn't see, so he didn't need to act. In the cramped duty room, Chol Min was like Junghwa's eyes. He explained each scene in the movie. Two lonely hearts now began to beat together. However, the happy time was too short, and in the blink of an eye, it was time to say goodbye. While leaving, a car suddenly sped past, startling Junghwa and causing him to fall into a beer barrel on the side of the road. Chol Min hurriedly ran out. He was extremely heartbroken when he saw that Junghwa had injured her leg. So right after that, Chol Min asked an uncle to be on duty. Chol Min took Junghwa to the hospital to bandage her wound. Not only that, on the way home, he even took the initiative to carry Junghwa on his back without hesitation. She smiled and said that he would regret it. It turned out that to get home, the two of them would have to overcome a steep slope, and a boy also rushed out and bumped into Chol Min, causing him to almost fall. When he got home, he was exhausted, but Junghwa also forced him to work as a plumber in front of the balcony. Chol Min couldn't believe her eyes when the thing that clogged the drain was Junghwa's underwear. To repay her, she invited him to go to the music festival the next night. Although Chol Min said he didn't understand anything about it, he was actually very happy inside. To prepare for the first date, Junghwa decided to change her appearance. Who would have thought she would meet the spa owner? Hairan had just been scolded by her husband, so she took her anger out on Junghwa. She coaxed Junghwa into getting a frizzy hairstyle. Junghwa put on makeup and a pretty dress and waited for Chol Min to come over. She confidently thought that the person she liked would be stunned for 5 seconds by this beauty that she hadn't seen. As expected, Chol Min was a bit surprised. His face was stiff, and he thought that his aesthetic sense must be problematic. Not letting that affect the two of them, he immediately took her to see the music festival. Even though Junghwa was extremely engrossed, Chol Min could only watch her sway to the music, because a person who only knew how to fight like him, even if he tried to feel, he still wouldn't understand anything. But Chol Min knew that the fastest way to a woman's heart was through her stomach, so he invited Junghwa to eat and drink. Everything was going very well, but suddenly she asked what he did for a living. Chol Min's face darkened. He asked her if she liked to care about other people's past. It was like 1,000 knives were stabbing Junghwa's chest. She thought that Chol Min was like everyone else who looked down on her as a blind person. She sadly stood up and left. Chol Min followed Junghwa to the door of the house. He gathered up all his courage to tell everything. He said that he used to be a famous boxer, but he accidentally got involved in gambling, so he did a lot of bad things and had to go to jail. But now he regrets it very much. It's not that he has any prejudice against her, but he feels ashamed. After Junghwa heard, she didn't know what to say, so she said goodnight to him and then went home. In the following days, she still passed by the duty room but didn't stop to watch the movie. Chol Min could only look at the figure of the person he loved while his heart seemed to be broken. He couldn't eat or sleep well. He was like a heartbroken person. On the other side, Junghwa went to work and was often harassed by her boss, Park. Faced with his dirty hands, Junghwa didn't dare to have any resistance, because this was a rare job that was hard to find for a blind person like her. That night, Mr. Park pretended to be drunk and broke into Junghwa's house. Mr. Park didn't know that he was making the biggest mistake of his life.
이런. 내가 이럴 줄 알았. 진짜 강간범 한번.
On the other side, Chol Min mustered up all his courage to confess to his lover. Unexpectedly, he caught this scene. Chol Min was about to finish off Mr. Park when Junghwa screamed to stop him, but he told himself that he had to show Mr. Park what courtesy was. Chol Min broke one of Mr. Park's fingers and said that if Mr. Park continued to be bad, he would beat his mouth. After letting Mr. Park go, Junghwa did not thank Chol Min, but instead blamed him. She said that what he did would only make things worse. What if Mr. Park fired her? He replied that he would take care of her. She said that what he did would only make her more pitiful. Then she told him to leave because she wanted to be alone. With no other choice. Chol-min could only leave quietly. Junghwa appeared strong on the outside, but deep inside, she was extremely miserable. After all, she was just a blind girl. Her pride made her not want others to look down on her. She also did not want the person she loved to carry more burdens. In the following days, Chol-min silently followed to protect Junghwa. Even though she could not see him, she could still feel his figure. Suddenly one day, Junghwa suddenly appeared. She told the person she loved that she no longer worked there, so Chol-min can take her somewhere to relieve her boredom. He appeared surprised, but in fact he was very happy inside. The next day, Chol-min gave Junghwa a guide dog. She felt extremely happy. Soon after, they went to a riverbank together. This was where Chol-min used to live. When he was a child in an orphanage, every time he came here, so many childhood memories came flooding Ben. Junghwa saw that and immediately picked up 2 pebbles. She said that she and he would each keep one, and she would consider it an engagement gift. Holding Chol-min's warm hand, she whispered to herself that she had officially found her support. From here, love began to blossom. Chol-min officially moved in with Junghwa. Both were determined to build a future. Chol-min met Mr. Bang, his master. He asked Mr. Bang to let him return to the ring. In the following days, he began to train hard to awaken the muscle strength that had been dormant for many days. He practiced diligently without stopping, all for the power of love. Indeed, he did not disappoint Mr. Bang's expectations. Not only was Chol-min's body extremely agile, but his punching power was also difficult for anyone to block. If he did not practice enough during the day, he took the opportunity to practice at night. Chol-min's first matches after 4 years were extremely impressive. He easily defeated his opponent with knockouts right from the first round. After a few tiring minutes, Chol-min returned home to find a beautiful woman waiting for him. In addition to doing chores, Junghwa also learned how to massage his lover. Although life was full of deprivation, both were still filled with laughter. Chol-min was also extremely delicate. To make it easy for his lover to move around, he rounded the corners of the table and even removed the thresholds in the spaf house so she would not trip. Knowing that Junghwa couldn't see, Chol-min removed the shields on the wall so she could feel the light better. Junghwa touched his face to remember the silhouette of the person she loved. The more Chol-min immersed himself in happiness, the stronger he became. In the Korean middleweight championship match, he encountered an extremely strong opponent.
철민아! 자신을 믿어!
After the fight, he went backstage to treat his wound and unexpectedly met Tae-sik again. Tae-sik told Chol-min that if he was good, he should gain weight and meet Tae-sik in the heavyweight tournament. Chol-min replied that there was no need to do that. Then he told Tae-sik to leave him alone. It turned out that Tae-sik wanted revenge, but the two of them were not in the same weight class, so he had not had the chance yet. However, the only thing Chol-min cared about at the moment was the person he loved. He quickly told his assistant to treat the bruise on his face to reduce the swelling. Although he was in pain, Chol-min still smiled. He did not want the person he loved to worry. On the anniversary of Junghwa's parents' death, she brought Chol-min home to meet her parents. After praising the person she loved, Junghwa made Chol-min fall into the abyss. She recounted the accident that year. When Junghwa was taking her parents on a trip, she suddenly saw a man on fire. That person fell from a building on the side of the road. This made her lose focus. At this moment, a truck came. She could not avoid it in time, causing a terrible accident. Hearing this, Chol-min felt like thunder struck her ears, because the person who indirectly caused this was him. The burning man that Junghwa saw was the debtor he had cornered that day. Chol-min also witnessed the scene of her car accident. However, he did not know that the person in the car was his future lover. After knowing this truth, Chol-min fell into despair. He did not expect that he himself was the one who indirectly caused Junghwa's parents to leave this world, and he had caused her to lose her light. Heartbroken, Chol-min did not know how to face this truth. After calming down, he left the gym. He returned home, but did not see Junghwa. Upon receiving the news, he immediately ran to the hospital and saw Junghwa already there. The doctor informed him that if she did not receive treatment in a month, her eyes would be permanently blind. The cost of the surgery was a huge amount of money, but Chol-min decided that he would secretly treat her at all costs. Having no other choice, he decided to go to Tae-sik, who was at the peak of his glory but always wanted revenge. He said he needed money and he could fight Tae-sik. Tae-sik sarcastically said he thought he was was worth so much. Now Tae-sik didn't like to fight anymore. Feeling humiliated, Chol-min was about to stand up and leave. Tae-sik called him back and said that someone wanted to fight him. Immediately after, Tae-sik took Chol-min to meet a boss named Choi. Immediately, he gave Chol-min the money Chol-min needed. He said it was just an advance. If he won, Chol-min would get another $1 million. Chol-min's job was to participate in an illegal life and death battle in Thailand, and he told Chol-min to think carefully before deciding. For the sake of the person he loved, Chol-min immediately agreed without hesitation, knowing that once he left on this trip, it would be difficult to return. Chol-min took Jung-hwa out for a fun day. He then told her that he would treat her eyes with the money he had saved over the years, but Jung-hwa refused because she wanted it to be like this, because having him was the best thing in her life. However, when Chol-min convinced her that she had to see her children and him, she finally agreed. The next day, Jung-hwa was admitted to the hospital, but she said that the first person she wanted to see after the surgery was him. After sending his lover to the operating room, Chol-min memorized that face and smiled deep in his heart. Then he immediately went home and packed his bags to Thailand. According to Mr. Choi's request, he had to change his name, and he had to erase all his personal documents, including his cell phone number. Immediately after, Chol-min was given a passport with a completely new name by a stranger. When he arrived in the land of golden pagodas, his face looked like he was in a funeral. He took care of the surgery at his lover's house. Following the instructions, someone quickly led him to an underground arena. This was the betting place of the big guys. Although Chol-min had prepared himself mentally, he couldn't help but worry. This was an extremely strong opponent. At this time, Tae-sik appeared. Tae-sik said that the guy's name was Dong-gil, nicknamed the punching machine. He beat a few people to death every day. As soon as Tae-sik finished speaking, a boxer was beaten to death. Stepping out into the arena, there were only two bosses waiting. Tae-sik did not forget to apologize for dragging him into his death. Chol-min had also prepared himself mentally. However, because of the person he loved, he had no other choice. The two of them stepped into the octagon. This made Tae-sik's face pale because after this incident, he would be bankrupt. In the end, Chol-min was able to save his life to return to Jung-hwa. Chol-min would receive another $1 million. However, Tae-sik came up with a wicked plan. They did not give that money to Chol-min, but they gave Chol-min a diamond. They told Chol-min to bring it back to Korea, and Chol-min would receive another $200,000. Without thinking too much, Chol-min successfully passed customs and returned to Korea. However, while on the way to the transaction location, it turned out that the mastermind was Tae-sik. He wanted someone to transport the diamond without losing the prize money. On the other side, Jung-hwa had successfully operated on her eyes. Unfortunately, the man who promised to let her see first never showed up. Seeing Chol-min suddenly disappear in a strange way, she went to the police station to report the case. But the two were not yet husband and wife, so the police did not accept it. In the end, Jung-hwa had to go home and wait. One day, the boarding house was also demolished. Next to Jung-hwa were only the dog and the small turtle that Chol-min left behind. Suddenly, a delivery man came to deliver something to Chol-min. It was a hairband. Following the sender's address, she found a man. It was none other than the uncle who had been severely burned years ago. It turned out that he knew Chol-min had a lover, so he sent her a small gift. Right after that, he told Jung-hwa everything. This shocked her quite a bit, but thinking back, she couldn't blame Chol-min because it was all unintentional. Holding the engagement stone in her hand, she still remembered the person she loved. She hoped that one day day he would appear. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. Junghwa had opened her own pottery shop. Faced with the pursuit of other men, she refused them all. She said she was already married, because for her, that position only belonged to Chol Min. Besides, Junghwa also often went to the hospital to do charity work. Not only did she give the patients the flower vases she made herself, she also helped them massage. Suddenly, a young man turned around from the hospital bed next to her. It was none other than Chol Min. Perhaps it was fate. God had given him a chance to live, and now the two of them were able to meet again. Seeing the girl he loved, Chol Min's whole body trembled. He felt an indescribable feeling. He felt happy because he had cured Junghwa's eyes. He felt even luckier because she had never seen his face, because, in his current state, he did not know how to face her. Being cared for and massaged by Junghwa, Chol Min remained silent, not daring to say a word, because he was afraid that she would recognize his voice. Chol Min did not want to become a burden to the person he loved. He only wanted her to be happy. As Junghwa massaged Chol Min's broad shoulders, she felt that this figure was very familiar. She had seen the patient's name on the headboard. However, it was a different name, not Chol Min. Moreover, there was a large scar on his face. She told herself that it could not be Chol Min. At this moment, Chol Min could hardly contain his emotions, but he still had to swallow his tears so that Junghwa would not find out. He had sacrificed everything for the person he loved, but now he was disabled, so he did not want anyone to worry. Watching her leave, Chol Min let go of the engagement stone that he had always kept with him. Time passed. Chol Min gradually recovered and was discharged from the hospital. He used crutches to go to Junghwa's shop to see her one last time. Then he left the city. Seeing her go out with the dog, Chol Min went inside to buy the only pot of hyacinth there. It was the plant that Junghwa loved very much. Seeing his little turtle, he put it in his pocket and left. Seeing that she was doing well, he had no regrets. However, suddenly the dog saw him and immediately rushed over. It jumped on him and looked happy, as if it had met an old friend after many days apart. Junghwa also ran over. She quickly apologized for the pet's mischief. Realizing that he was the person she had taken care of in the hospital, she felt a strange familiarity. However, Chol Min did not respond and he left. Only the dog still insisted on chasing after him, but Junghwa dragged him home. Chol Min was in pain, tears streaming down his face, but he still had to keep walking. The girl he loved was right in front of him, but he could not hold her in his arms. On the other side, Junghwa returned to the store and saw that the turtle had disappeared. The dog was still barking loudly, and it wanted to run after someone. It seemed like she realized something was wrong. She asked the staff if a limping man had come here. The staff said yes, and they reported that he had bought a hyacinth. Junghwa was stunned. She quickly ran outside. She realized that the man on crutches was none other than the person she had been looking for all this time. She had let the person she loved leave twice right in front of her without her knowing. Junghwa was in great pain. She blamed herself. A man had sacrificed so much for her without her even realizing it. In the midst of the bustling crowd, Junghwa knew where to find him. This made her collapse. Chol Min got off the subway. He wanted to go far away so that the person he loved could have a better new life. Returning to the riverbank, Chol Min released the little turtle back to nature. He did not want to hurt anyone. On Junghwa's side, she was driving to look for him. She suddenly remembered the place where they had their first date. When they arrived, Chol Min was still there. She asked why he was there, and she mentioned that he promised that he would be the first person she saw. She said that her eyes had no meaning without him by her side. Moving closer to the person she loved, Junghwa felt that face, a familiar face. Chol Min always wanted Junghwa to find happiness, but now he understood that her happiness was actually him. Maybe meeting again might be late, but their true love will never be too late. Through the movie, we see that as long as love is sincere, all storms will surely be overcome. The same goes for us. Don't forget that in this world, there still exists the true love of your life.